What is up, perfect practice practitioner? I have a very special lesson that I learned and I want to share it with you. Last year I spoke to the global partners of a very, very famous accounting firm. I won't mention their name just for anonymity, but this company does billions of dollars of business all over the world, and they had their global partners fly in, and I was able to speak to these individuals. And I learned a very important lesson in business. When I told them about functional medicine, they were certainly interested in the health aspects of functional medicine, but what they were really fascinated by and interested by was how I run my business and the business elements of it. So I had a chance to dive deep with them, and it was actually one of the most popular questions that they asked me was not so much about how can they get healthy, but how can they learn more about the functional medicine business model. And when I shared with them the opportunity that functional medicine practitioners have and the shortcoming that functional medicine practitioners had, they wholeheartedly agreed. So keep in mind that these people consult multi-billion dollar companies all over the world, and I had a chance to share with them my business model and the business model that I teach to practitioners all over the world. So I want to start with something that I think is extremely relevant to your practice and the mistake that I see practitioners making all over the world, and the mistake that I made as well. And that is that we focus on the wrong thing. But I'm going to get to that in just a second. The first thing I'm going to say is that what we do not lack, so I want to talk about that. The first thing is that we do not lack passion. So if you're on this call, especially if you're watching this live, then the thing that you do not lack is passion. The thing that you do not lack is purpose and finding how you can serve people and how you can help people and how you can get as many people on this planet as healthy as possible. You do not lack that passion. So we all possess this. Now, the thing with passion is that passion, like love, sometimes is blind. So we focus on the wrong things in this blinded passion that we have to help people. What I've historically found is that functional medicine practitioners first focus on outcomes, okay? So we spend a lot of time and energy and money learning how to produce better outcomes for our patients. Some people spend tens of thousands of dollars. They fly all over the world to learn how to create outcomes. And to me, that's backwards, because you have to create outcomes after people understand what you do, after people sign up for care. That's when you create the outcome. So why is that the first thing that you learn? So if you already believe in the functional medicine model, if you believe that self-care, guided care, partnered care, evidence-based, root cause medicine is the solution, then you already know that you can produce the outcome. In fact, the quality of the outcome that you produce is going to be based on the next thing, which is marketing, okay? So this is the step that a lot of practitioners take as a second or middle step, which is fine. That's kind of where it needs to be, okay? This is totally okay. But the problem is that if you're focused on learning and training and becoming really good at creating outcomes for people, how are you going to become really good at marketing? And that's a secondary thought. And the only way that you can help people is by first helping them understand what it is that you do. So this is where a lot of training programs, in my opinion, you spend tens of thousands like I did, and you learn all these things. You learn how to create outcomes, but you don't know how to message to people. And then, so what you do is you learn outcomes, you then learn marketing, because you realize that, hey, I can't, people aren't just going to flock to my office, so I've got to learn marketing. And then you learn systems, okay? And systems are where you create efficiency and scalability and standard operating procedures. And it's usually people creating systems as a result of this big mess that they've created. And this, to me, is completely backwards, okay? And you can press like if you agree. You can comment if you agree. This is a very backwards process. We spend all of our time and energy and money trying to help people create outcomes. We learn how to help people change and transform their lives. And then we learn how to market and message to our community, which is the secondary step, which is what we get paid to do. And then we create systems. And by this time, if the last thing we create is systems, is we're going to have this huge mess. You're going to be burnt out. You're going to be struggling with work-life balance. You're going to be struggling with keeping a pipeline full. You're going to be struggling with adding on new team members and making sure that they're happy and they're supportive of the mission. So one of the things that I'm able to do is I'm able to look back over the years and see the mistakes that I've made, things that I wish I would have done differently. You know, I've grown 2 practices. I've coached 150 practitioners now. I consult with companies and organizations around this particular space of how do we scale functional medicine. And the way we do that is not by creating more passion. You've already got that. And that passion should spill into these 3 things. But we have to flip this. So first, we have to teach practitioners systems. Okay, business systems, because this is what you're lacking. You're lacking training in business. Of course, you're going to lack training in the clinical side of things, but that comes after the fact. Then we have to teach them how to market and message. Okay, now here's the thing with marketing. Marketing is essentially storytelling. We're all born storytellers. The way our brain is wired is through telling stories and sharing stories. So marketing can be really salesy if you're not good at marketing. Marketing is storytelling. Sales is persuasion. Nobody likes to be persuasive and manipulative. So if you have good messaging and marketing and storytelling and you share it very well and people get it, which is something I help you do, then you're going to have awesome outcomes. Now the next thing then is to create outcomes. Okay? Outcomes is what you produce for your patients. Now you might be asking, well, how do I create outcomes last? Why is it that I have to focus on outcomes last or invest in my outcomes last? And I'm not certainly saying that you don't invest in outcomes, but don't think that because you're really smart at helping people and you've learned all this information, that that's going to solve these problems for you. These are the biggest things holding you back. It's marketing and messaging and systems so that you can scale without burning out. So what I learned from this company is that there's 2 types of information. There's 2 types of knowledge acquisition. And what we focus on is the first one, which is just in case. So let me write that out for you, just in case. When you go to any clinical training, when you go to any seminar or conference that's teaching you the clinical side of your business, and that's all they're teaching you a bunch of just in case information. And what that means is, hey, just in case you see this in your practice, here's what you would do. And what we know is that no 2 people are going to present the exact same way. So instead of just in case information and having binders and binders full of content that is not going to be relevant necessarily when that patient steps into your office, because you've got to be able to think on the fly. You've got to be able to get people information when they need it. So there's the other type of information, which is just in time information. And this is the most important information and reservoir to have access to, is just in time information, because then the information becomes readily available to you when you need it. You know, learning every single combination. When I first started learning the Nutri-Eval test, I was trying to memorize every single marker and memorize the function of it and the different patterns. And what I realized very quickly is that this is the stupidest way to learn this, because every patient is going to be unique. So what I have to be able to do is look at patterns, and I have to be able to call the right person, which in my case is Jared or Ricky or Devaz or my wife. I have to be able to call the right person when I need that information so that I have it available to me just in time. If you fill up your head and empty your wallet to learn just in case information, you're going to be in big trouble, because this just in case information focuses on the outcomes which you're going to produce on the back end, not on the front end. So the way we load our functional medicine training, the way we load our functional medicine delivery and education and acquisition of knowledge, in my opinion, is completely backwards. If you believe in the product, if you're passionate about the product, then you can learn the outcomes, part of it, through access to just-in-time knowledge acquisition, information, the right tribe, the right mentorship, the right events that give you access to this. So the best way to acquire just-in-time information, which is what you should be asking, is to surround yourself with the right people. That's why some of you will post questions in this group, because you want just-in-time information. You're not posting questions about something that might happen a year from now, which is what you're learning when you go to conferences, or something that may never happen. You're posting questions about answers that you want now because there's a problem presenting in front of you now. So when you surround yourself with the right tribe, then you have access to this reservoir of information and experiences and knowledge right at your fingertips. So this is one of the reasons I developed this Perfect Practice community, so that you have access to just-in-time information. It's the reason that I have a mentorship, so that people can pick up the phone that I coach and train and ask me, hey, this is the situation I'm in, what do I do? It's also the reason that we have live events, because now you can immerse yourself in the right community so that you can connect with people who are going to be extremely valuable on your journey towards your absolute best practice. So reiterating, I hope this helps. If this helps, just give me a little like so that I know that it's valuable information for you. I hope it is. So we want to reiterate, the thing that you're not lacking is passion. The thing that you're not lacking is empathy and compassion and a willingness to sacrifice your time, your energy, your effort to serve your community. The thing that we are lacking is the order in which we approach building our practices. We first focus on training. So we learn all this just-in-case information, we go to all these training modules, and we keep acquiring data and knowledge, and then we realize that, hey, people aren't going to come to us because we're smart, they're going to come to us because we know how to message and market to them. So that's marketing. And then we create systems because we realize, hey, I'm really good at producing outcomes, I've got my messaging down, and now my practice is chaotic and hectic, and I'm going to burn out. And this is when I get the call, when people need systems. So what I'm suggesting is don't wait until you go through this 2-year process. Start now. Get the systems in place. Get the procedures and policies and strategy in place. Learn how to message and market. And then to produce the best outcomes, it's not going to be from something you learned 3 years ago. It's going to be from what the latest information is now. So you get access to just-in-time information through a collective network of people that know the answers, okay? People that are a few steps ahead of you, people who have encountered this problem before, people who can coach you through that process. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some insights, and I hope that you're starting to get access to just-in-time information instead of doubling down, emptying your wallets to acquire just-in-case information. Thank you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. This is Sachin Patel, signing off.